Now, those of you who lived up and down the East Coast, but especially in New York and New Jersey, and are of a certain age, remember Carvel ice cream shops as if there were one on every corner. Now where can you find one? As it turns out, at one point Carvel stores, like those who patronize them, largely ditched the cities for strip malls in the suburbs, leaving behind the glass front shops that had twirling cones on the roof. Now that was ice cream. And even today, those strip mall stores are pretty rare, since the Carvel business model moved from stores to supermarkets. You're more likely to find flying saucers in a ShopRite than in a space-age-looking Carvel shop of yore. And can I just weigh in on the revamped logo? It's hideous and has been around forever. As the kids say, do better. Does this mean Carvel ice cream is an epic failure, the way so many startup companies are now? The WeWork of ice cream? Not exactly. Comparing those two is like mixing rainbow sherbet with Rocky Road. However, you can't say Carvel successfully evolved with the times, as there are still plenty of, as Trav said, Baskin-Robbins and Dairy Queens. The very first Haagen-Dazs store celebrates its birthday every year with free ice cream and a DJ. Carvel's first store was torn down in 2008. So what caused this twist of fate? Was it an inability to change with the times? Bad luck? Or murder? I'm Heather Quinlan, and this is Cold Storage. It's October 20th, 1990, a Saturday. A mysterious phone call is made to the Carvel home, answered by a friend of the family.
Hello?
Get rid of all the prescription drugs in the house.
I think you have the wrong number.
All right, now, I don't know if this is ludicrous or terrifying, but I'm bringing in my friend and co-host Paul Finnegan to help me because I am a bit creeped out. Like Cervantes in Man of La Mancha, we're going to tell this story within a story. So, Paul, where the hell are we?
We're in Carvel's offices in Yonkers, New York. That lady at the paper shredder, that's Mildred Arcadapane, his secretary. She's got the dirt on him, but she's about to get canned and she knows it. She's shredding papers like someone about to lose control over a multi-million-dollar foundation and trust fund and do time in federal prison. Also, somewhere in the building is Robert Davis, Carvel's lawyer. He's looking at the same 10 to 20 as Mildred.
Bob, get me those bank statements, for Christ's sakes!
Robert and Mildred, two people Tom Carvel trusted way too much, were in charge of the Tom and Agnes Carvel Foundation, a charitable organization that they used the way the Carvels intended, like tuition for Mildred's nephew. They also sold shares of Carvel stock to favorite employees before the company was sold, making them all a ton of money. But this got Attorney General Bob Abrams on their case, and before you could say, sweetheart deal, he was charging them with fraud.
Listen, you, I was Tom Carvel's secretary for 33 years. You try working for that cuckoo puss before judging me. Bob?
I'm not here.
Although we can see you're shredding documents, we're not judging. We're podcasters.
You're what?
Heather, it's 1990.
Why does this seem like a more innocent time? Speaking of which, let's go way back
Bob?
to a time before paper shredding and foundations and prescription drugs for the elderly and this phone.
Bob?
Back before Cookie Puss and Fudgy the Whale, even before the first Carvel store. And bam! It's 1934.
Ow. This isn't Sherman and Peabody.
Yeah, I know, but we don't have any funding yet. Hint. So, if I were writing a screenplay of Tom Carvel's beginnings, it might sound something like this. Exterior, Yonkers parking lot, day. It's a blazing hot afternoon as a young man steps out of his ice cream truck. He walks around and sees the flat tire that's forced him to pull over. Despairing, He takes off his cap and sits on the ground.
Dear Lord, I dream of having my own business someday, but I can't go anywhere with that tire. What am I supposed to do?
Trouble?
Yes, my trailer broke down.
Look, I'll help you bring your trailer over to my yard here, and you can hitch it up to my electricity.
Okay, I'm being a bit disingenuous here because, one, if I were to write a screenplay of Tom Carvel's beginnings, it would never sound like this. And two, these are Tom Carvel's words, printed in a syndicated newspaper column from 1976 called Pathways. And according to Carvel, the savior in question turned out to be the owner of a pottery store who was named Pop Quinlan. No relation to me, as far as I know. Mostly because I don't think Pop Quinlan existed. Every hero has a great origin story. It's the stuff of Marvel and DC universes. Carvel was no different. He knew the value of a good myth. I mean, he came from Greece. Like Icarus, Carvel too was dangerously close to losing his livelihood because of the blazing sun. But in researching Tom Carvel, I found as many different versions of this story as there are flavors of his ice cream. Some have him moving to Westchester from New York City after suffering a nervous breakdown. Some have him moving there after a misdiagnosis of tuberculosis. Some have Pop Quinlan. Some just mention a nameless pottery store owner. Some have Carvel selling melted ice cream to throngs of overheated passers-by, giving him the brilliant idea of creating the heretofore unknown soft-serve ice cream. Some just have him selling his inventory after he powered up his truck at the pottery shop. Here's my theory. Tom Carvel grew up learning the confectionery business from his father, Andreas. By his late 20s, he was selling ice cream from a truck he drove around Hartsdale, New York, a suburb of New York City. The Carvel family are also brilliant inventors, and thanks in very large part to Tom's brother Bruce, this refrigeration know-how was applied to their confectionery smarts, inventing one of the world's first soft-serve ice cream dispensers. These refrigerator dispensers were called Whipsidaires by Bruce, and he built them out of his warehouse in Hell's Kitchen. But it was Tom who brought them into the ice cream business. And soon Carvel rented the shop where he claimed he was once saved by Pop Quinlan, and opened the first Carvel, or rather, as it was originally known, Dairy Freeze. So did some kind of calamity strike Tom Carvel's ice cream truck on Memorial Day weekend in 1934? I think it did. But I doubt people driving by saw a broken down truck and thought, you know, I could really go for some ice cream. But print the legend, and that was another part of Tom Carvel's genius.